Hello, gents. It's me, Pharaoh MGTOW. I hope everything is going well for you guys, and that we're all aspiring to do something greater and become something greater than what we are currently. That is. So, one thing I wanted to get off my chest was an issue I've noticed about mass shootings, and usually what happens before the mass shootings. Now, a lot of these mass killers, or multi-killers, whatever you like to call them, I really don't know the terms that you prefer, but I noticed that the majority of them, or mostly, or probably all of them, were all male, all men. In researching on these men, I've learned that a lot of them were very highly intelligent men who had such great promise in the community, or society for that matter, but they were always shunned, made fun of, picked on, bullied, bullied to the breaking point. I mean, every single man, if he's weak, if he's a beta or a meta or whatever the hell that stupid shit is called, like, they all have their breaking point. And it's just, the thing is, we don't teach this to people, a lot of the community these days. We don't teach to people that, hey, people have breaking points, man. Don't push them too far. If you push them to that point, they won't give a shit. They'll kill you. Everyone has a breaking point, and these guys, they got to the edge and they fell in, and they broke. They fell into that crack of madness, and people didn't see it coming. They were too ignorant and stupid, and it kind of saddened me about that. And the thing is, they always gave off warning signs before they would crack, before they would snap, like the two boys from Columbine shooting. The warnings were so obvious, boys walking around wearing black all day, every day, wearing the same dark trench coats, like that's. And then not only that, their parents would just ignore them all the time. And then they get bullied. And you think about it as a young man, when you're bullied and you don't really have a father figure that's there for you, you really don't have anyone to turn to. I mean, you could go to a counselor, but I mean, when I was in high school, my freaking counselor was my counselor was a woman. And she didn't know jack shit. The only thing she cared about was when was lunch, She was a big, fat, girthy, I'm gonna cuss, bitch. And a boy can only truly get like the care and love and nurturing that he needs from a father. And these boys, they didn't get that. They were always it was almost like they were shoved into a meat grinder, it's like, or a conveyor belt of life. It's like after you get to high school, it's like the parents, well, throughout schooling systems, they don't really care about you. They just like, oh, well, how is he doing? Is he programmed just right for society? And when he hits 18, it's like, okay, whatever, he's good now. You're on your own, kid. Learn it. Like, how you can't just give a flower water once and expect it to grow. How fucking stupid can people be about this kind of stuff? It sort of pisses me off when I see this to young men. It happens in the masses. Young men are beaten and they're shunned, ashamed. They're ashamed of what they do because they have no one to run to, no one to help them, guide them. No one to support them in any way. They have to find some kind of support group, and in that they become desperate. In that desperation, they turn to the wrong type of crowd, the wrong type of people, just to feel that support of family or some kind of or something close to it. That's why a lot of young men join gangs, and people don't see people. They don't give a shit. You know, a lot of, and I learned too that a lot of gang members are from single mother homes. It sucks, you know. It really pisses me off because a lot of these killers, and they're just tortured souls. I'm not saying what they did was right, but I mean, geez, you gotta. Sometimes you want to see. It's good to know how the fire was started in the first place, you know. And it sickens me how women are to their children, you know. I see it how friends are with their kids, or family members with their kids as well, like where they show more appreciation to the girls than they do the boys. But here's the thing. What I like to do is I like to help my nephews, you know. I always try to encourage them to read, write, be smart and all that. And I think that's one thing we as MGTOWs should do. If there are young men out there who need support, help them out. Help out the next generation of men. Teach them. Teach them the ways of life, the right ways of life. A lot of young men out there are growing up with no guidance at all. I mean, even if the ones that do have fathers, the fathers are usually spineless men or spineless stepdads, you know. Most young men these days in America always have spineless male figures in their life that don't show any defense against a woman's nature or a woman's wants, and they let the woman just decide everything in the household. You see it everywhere. I mean, you go to go to anyone's house who's married or has a relationship or is living with a girlfriend or whatever, and you'll see that most of the designs and everything, it's almost like it's not his house. It's like he's living there with her, like he's in her lair. That's strange. It's like a woman literally turns, when she moves into a man's house, it slowly becomes her new lair. It's almost like it's crazy. It's like he actually is being digested by the woman. Like those weird things, what are those weird rituals they used to have in some cultures where if you eat the enemy's heart, you become your enemy. You have his strength. It's almost like the same thing. If you eat the man's economic support, you have his money. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I think as MGTOW should start doing now is, say if you have any nephews or little brothers who are barely going through high school, you know, or middle school, or even just kids, you know, in general, like that you happen to stumble upon that are like need help, you know, like I for one plan to maybe, you know, buy a couple basketballs and just throw them out there into the ghetto areas. That way some kids can just, you know, have something to play with. Maybe even a couple soccer balls or whatnot, you know. Something to support the younger generation. And it actually is helpful because I've noticed that when I help my nephews, because no one ever really knows what they're going through, you know. No one cares. And my sisters sure as hell don't give a shit about my nephews and how they're progressing in life. They don't care how he feels. They only care if he's a sure thing that he's gonna graduate. Oh, big whoop. High school diploma is about as useful as a $5 bill these days. Yeah, you know, it actually feels good though, because it feels like I'm nurturing the roots of the future plants. You know, helping out. You know, I mean, just the other week, my little nephew, who's almost out of high school, or not out of high school, he's almost out of middle school. I mean, he's a good kid, but he's just you know, I could tell he's lost. And I just have the sudden urge to just grab him and give him a hug and tell him everything's all right. You're a good guy, or a good kid, you know. Just give him a good hug. And you know what the funny thing about it is? He actually wrapped his arms around me and squeezed. Like I was thinking, like, holy crap, dude! Does no one give this kid any hugs? It's a shame, dude. It makes absolute sense why boys become monsters when they become men. Well, you know, a good chunk of them, you know. Society creates this stuff, but I think we as MGTOWs, we should help reverse this system. Pour in pour in our poison of MGTOW. But here's the thing, it's the good kind of poison. It's like, what's that one stuff? I'm sorry, I wish I knew what it was, but I'll just say this, it's a good poison. But, yeah, you know, a good poison in society that slowly turns it into something better. So, that's really all I think I can say about that. It's just support the youth, you know. We need to show these boys out there that, you know what, you're worth a damn. You are worth a damn. Don't let anybody put you down at all. So that's all I can say for now, but I think that's maybe the next step we need to take as MGTOWs is sure we help our fellow man, but on the other hand too, if opportunity arises, help the next generation as well. Give them an understanding of how life works and a better understanding of female nature. Oh, I just wanted to that was kind of funny. I pissed off one of my sisters a few weeks ago. It was great. I was having dinner with her and her daughter and my dad at the same time, and they were talking about her. She was talking about her high school problems because you know she's already going to be out of high school soon. And I told her, you know, one thing a man really likes is when a woman pays for her meal and he can pay for his meal 50-50. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, men like that when a woman can pay for herself. Shows that woman's strong. And I kid you not, my sister was pissed. She was like, no, then that's not a good man at all. I didn't bother continuing on with the conversation, that argument, because I didn't want to make it an argument. I just was like laughing. I was like, I just laughed it off. But anyway, I thought I'd let you know that little funny story. So, that's all I gotta say for now, guys. But keep up the good fight out there, and saddle up and prepare for whatever may come. Take her easy, guys.